Today we're going to talk about what some people think is a Lego quality issue, but it's easy to fix. And that issue is shrinkage. Not that kind of issue, but still shrinkage. I build a ton of very large buildings, and I've experienced this particular problem both while building Mills road plates and my 6 to 10 foot tall skyscrapers. And I tried to show you guys what I was referring to in the thumbnail. As we scan along these two separate brick-built walls, you'll notice they're connected on the one end. As I move the camera along to follow these two 88 stud walls, the studs on top of these two walls start to stagger to a point that at the other end, the only way I can attach the two walls to themselves is by using a jumper plate on one wall to connect it over with a plate to the other wall. And believe it or not, this shrinkage is intentional. If you've ever noticed, anytime that I am displaying any of my building, when the lights are off in my build studio and I have the lights on in the build, you always see that little gap of light in between the bricks. And this is why I say it's intentional. Lego does that because they don't want you fighting to put the bricks together. That is one problem with the off-brand building block companies. They're trying to eliminate that little gap. And again, that gap is intentional. That gap is there so you're not fighting to put the walls together, to put the pieces together. But there's a really quick and easy solution. That's why the two different walls in the thumbnail show that gap as well. Because the wall on the left is built with 1x12 bricks. The wall on the right is built with 1x2 bricks. So what happens, because they put a gap in between each brick, when you're using a 1x2 brick, that gap that's in between the bricks, it multiplies very quickly when you're going along. And in the case of these walls, over 88 bricks, we lose a half a stud. Where by using the 1x12 bricks, we only have a total of 6 gaps in between the bricks, so there's really no fluctuation at all in the length of those when they're all put together. And that's why I've always told people, anytime you're building a very large Lego build, specifically skyscrapers like I like to do, I always recommend to people that you use large pieces. And I've always said the large pieces are number one, because it makes it cheaper. Number two, it makes it go together faster. But number three, it will fit together better. So just imagine if I was to take and build a large skyscraper, 48 by 48 studs in size, and I used 1x2 bricks, and the floor below it, I use 1x8 bricks, you're going to find those two floors are not going to want to connect together. And you're going to be fighting it the whole time. Where if you use the larger pieces, you're not going to have any troubles at all. I was asked this question yesterday by one of the viewers, you guys out there, on why this occurs. And I thought this would make a great video because it'll help people to understand why it's so important when you're going to build with a very big building that you got to use big pieces. Now, I know not everybody goes really huge like I do, but it is something you should take into consideration while doing builds. Just a note for Mills plates, that's also why I switched over to the 1x12 brick for my brick-built roads. When I first started doing all the Mills plate roads that were brick-built, I was using 1x2 bricks and 1x3 bricks. And all my roads had this really nasty gap where I would plop the plates together. So I started building bigger sections to avoid this problem. The bigger sections being up to a maximum of 3 32 by 32 plates. And with doing that, what was happening is the plates would warp and pull up because of that shrinkage. And again, that is intended by Lego. So for anybody that's ever built anything big and couldn't figure out why it wasn't going together, it's not a quality issue, and it's not something that you built or something that you did wrong. It's just quite simply an imperfection that's intentionally put into the product to make it work and go together easier for you, the builder. I hope you found this video helpful.